everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Crypto City. We've been talking a lot the last couple of weeks about the different apps that have been closing down and different opportunities that are popping up for people in other apps. And we're going to take a little break from that this week and focus on a little bit more positive. And we're going to bring back some creativity that's coming into this space. And we've had a lot of musicians on over the last couple seasons. And tonight we're going to bring on a musician that has actually not just created some work in the real world and come in and sang it. She's also had her work used in the VR world as well, which is kind of cool. And we're going to hear a little bit about her journey, and we're going to talk to her about the stuff she has going on and stuff that might be coming up in the near future. So if I would like you all to take a moment and help us welcome to the stage Auntie Panda. Welcome. Welcome, Panda. Grab a seat. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
We've had lots of interactions, over the last couple of years in different platforms. We've hung out, but we've also been involved in different productions together as well. And, your story is really cool because you're following your passion, you're creating your own music, and you're bringing it in here, sharing it, but you're also doing majority of your stuff IRL as well. So there's a good balance there. It's not just predominantly in here. And I think it's kind of cool to focus on, what you're doing and how you're doing it. So why don't you take a moment for those who aren't familiar with you to, explain who you are and, your journey in both the music industry and as well in VR.
All right. What's going on, everybody? It's your girl, Auntie Panda. I am a singer, a rapper, a producer, a musician, a gamer. I am somebody that creates music to express my journey throughout my life. I'm somebody that paints a picture for everybody to understand my story. So that's who I am.
All right, then. So your music, we've had you on my other production, which is that hip hop joint that we do with Kawan Kimpachi. And we've had you on there as a guest a few times. And so I've heard your music, and your music kind of runs the gamut. So, you have things that are very seductive and beautiful. You have things that are very hardcore. Tell us a little bit about the roots of your music and what your inspiration is.
Well, the roots of my music are based on my environment of how I was raised. I have a fusion blend of different genres of how my music is. I know I grew up with R&B, I grew up with rap, I grew up with soca and reggae. So that's pretty much what my music has influenced in my background. And when it comes to the music, it's easy to flow with it, due to that.
When did your musical journey start?
It's crazy you asked that. I actually got into music as a young child, actually, 2-3 years old. I was brought up in the church, so that's basically where everything took off and took place. My mother, she's a singer. She plays, instruments. My dad, he sings, he played instruments. My sisters, they sing, played instruments. So it's like a lineage type thing. So that's how it started.
So you were born with talent and then you decided to follow it through. So, what made you realize that VR could be a little bit more than a social space? Because you did mention that you're a gamer. So I assume that's what brought you in here initially.
Indeed, it did. I was a gamer only on a PlayStation at the time. But then I got curious with the VR headset because I never had experienced anything like that. When I put on the headset, they had, different platforms, different spaces you can go into. But what really set the deal for me, letting me see that you could expand your horizons with your gift and stuff, is when I first entered rapping competitions, specifically Nemo Freestyle Fridays. So that's where I kind of started, my whole, I guess you could say, music career on the VR.
So you've performed quite a bit in here in different capacities. And, you know, the audience in here, one of the benefits of being in VR is you hit people that you would probably never hit in your local area. You may hit on YouTube, but in here, you can actually have some captive audiences at events that other people might be throwing that you can become a part of. Do you find this is super beneficial with you trying to push new music out?
I find it very beneficial because, like, depending on where you are in IRL, it can be a lot more harder, especially if you come from a very small town with little to no connections versus when you're in VR, you may meet somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, and you have connections spreading around like wildfire.
The networking is definitely a great aspect in here.
Oh, yeah.
And even if you're not performing, you know, there's a lot of networking events, business type events, and that's been across all platforms, whether it's VR Chat, Horizon Worlds. You know, there's been a lot of networking events. And then there's a lot of just, you know, fun social events that while you're there, you can meet people. And, you know, like you said, you never know who you're talking to that may know someone that can help you. So tell us a little bit about, you've performed in some spaces like the Gospel Cruise, and you've been on that hip hop joint, like I mentioned earlier. You know, what makes the experience unique for you?
What makes it unique for me is that I have a unique interaction with each host that I've come in contact with. I've had an interesting, unique interaction with the audience that I've come in contact with. You never know how the reaction is going to be when it comes to that, when it comes to the music, to the flow. So just seeing different reactions and the uniqueness of it is pretty cool at the same time.
So we have up on the slide here that your song was actually being used, your music was being used in a nightclub by a dancer. And I mean, that must be pretty cool to actually see your music being, you know, being used in that capacity. Tell us a little bit about how that happened and how do you get your music in front of a DJ when you're in here?
So the crazy thing is, the DJ, I forget his name, but he actually was in the club the same night I happened to go to the club. And he found out who I was through somebody else. And then he had asked me, would it be okay if he played my music in the club? He thought I was dope. He thought I was cool. He thought I was like a breath of fresh air. And I'm like, sure, I would be honored. So when I went to the club, he had played it that same night. So I didn't expect him to play right off the bat. So as soon as I heard my music, I'm like, what's playing? I'm like, oh, that's me. So I had different people coming around, people from Metaverse, people from VR that I've never met before. They're like, hey, yo, that's you. I'm like, yeah, that's me. So it's pretty cool to, you know, see that. And then also like when it came down to it, the dancers that were there, they had requested my music. So like I said, he didn't know who I was. I didn't know who he was. And then after that, he told me, you know, every single Saturday or Friday, they're going to play my music. I'm like, bet.
That's great. I mean, that's such a perfect little, you know, gold mine to fall into, because you're hitting audiences again that you probably wouldn't have even remotely come in contact with. So that's great. You know, are there other things that you've been involved with? Like, I know you were on Horizon Squares, you were on OE Speakers, and like I mentioned, you've been on that hip hop joint a couple times. We actually had you on earlier in this last season as a feature so that we could put out 5 of your songs to the public in this platform, which actually goes from VR back out to YouTube to IRL. So tell us a little bit about how you're able to use these different various experiences to capitalize on marketing.
When it comes to the shows that I have been on, they have greatly helped me and boosted audiences and just in general people that look for good music. The shows that I've been on, like OE speakers, I had the opportunity to freestyle. This was, if I'm not mistaken, a few weeks or a week and a half after I had won Freestyle Friday. I had a chance to talk to him with, about most of the same things I'm talking to you about now. So just having that opportunity to be on his show, it boosted, the audience. It boosted, the music that I already had out at the time. When I was on Hip Hop Joint, we had a couple of slides of my songs that were played, and that greatly benefited with me when it came to that, because like I had people come to me left and right, like, this is your music. Okay, I want to play it on my show, and then I want to see you perform it for me if you don't mind. I'm like, it helped out a lot. And then with Horizon Squares, I got a chance to meet Sherwin. I didn't know who Sherwin was at the time, and actually he was one of the people that did my first meta music video for Empty Inside. So it was really cool. It was a great experience. That actually like boosted it again, because I'm like, I never had did a music video, let alone in a virtual reality space. And then also I had a chance to be on the Howard Albert show. I was on his show twice. So it was a good experience, to share the music, share the vibes, stuff like that.
Now, from a marketing standpoint, also, so you share all the links to your new music on Instagram. I've seen it in your feed, and then you kind of direct people go to my YouTube channel, which at the end of the show we will put up the links for that, so people will be able to get there. But so you direct people there. Do you find that you're able to have a similar pipeline here in VR to direct people over, or is it all word of mouth and you really heavily rely on Instagram and social media to push people to your music?
I feel like it's a mix of both. I do rely on Instagram, because I would say that's the most easier reach out when it comes to people that follow me. But also, like, if I happen to see somebody, I'll be like, hey, you should check this out, or you should check that out. But I feel like all three pipelines combine into one pipe, and you get the same ending result when it comes to that marketing wise. So I constantly just try to push out as much as I can, like sharing and, promoting and stuff like that.
So I'm going to ask you a little controversial question. There's a lot right now with AI music, and there's, artists that are writing music, artists that are performing music for themselves. And then there are a lot of people who are doing AI music. And do you feel that is, something that maybe is causing a little bit of conflict and integrity for artists, because I'm sure that must be hard to sit there and, we have a lot of artists here in the audience. Actually, we've got you, we've got Kawam, we've got Anadi, that you're actually working hard to write music, perform this music. And now all of a sudden there's, 500 artists out there that are literally AI, not actual artists. Do you find that to be an issue?
Yes and no. I would say yes, because I would say organic, authentic artists that actually take the time to work on their music and actually have the guts to actually do it themselves. I would say it's more work on our end, if that makes sense. We put in the time, the effort, blood, sweat, and tears for that, versus somebody that probably just puts in an idea in their head and then have an AI, create that idea for themselves, which, each to their own. But I feel like it can make it difficult, because say, for instance, like you have somebody that is an OG artist writing their own music from their own creativity, their perspective, their point of view, and they get, no likes, no traction or anything, versus somebody that may use AI and they may make a banger song, and that's good. And they get, likes and promotions and stuff like that. It can be frustrating or challenging, or, a controversial type thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's funny because we obviously the show's been on for 8 seasons, and I remember being back earlier in maybe like season 3 talking about, how is AI going to be, hindering or helping movies and music and that whole industry, because at that time the issue was people creating AI videos of actual artists and kind of like doctoring what they were saying. And it was like, oh God, is this like slander? Like, because they just made a video of Drake and he's saying things that he never actually said. And like, that was more the concern. And I feel like even though that still happens periodically, that's not really the concern anymore. The concern now is that people are just randomly creating music and it's taking away from the art itself of, being a musician and creating your own music. So it is kind of it's a fine line there. And I do agree. There are some people who sit there and put in the time and create some wonderful music. But like to your comment, they're creating it in a fraction of the time that it took you to create it and come together and make sure that the actual music is sounding on point for what you're trying to capture. And then you're going to try and, have a concert and you're putting yourself out there as, live performing. And, these people will never be live performing, but they're pushing out song after song after song, a whole album after a week. And in the real world, that doesn't happen. You don't have an album after a week. So it is a definite different avenue that, there's been a lot of talk about. So I was interested to hear your perspective. So thank you for sharing that with us. One of the things we talk about, you doing a lot of performances here, there is actually a prom coming up in April that you are a part of, and part of the halftime show, if you want to call it that. But you will be performing live with Kawan and Kai, and individually. So, what's your feelings on that? Are you excited for this? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm excited, stoked. It's gonna be good vibes, good times. I have a lot of music, in the archive that I got to go through. So it's gonna be interesting for me to see what I'm gonna do, and it's gonna be interesting for y'all to figure out what I'm gonna be, performing for y'all. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. And it's fun to watch the community come together for that kind of an event, because, that will bring a lot of people in from different walks of life, because a prom is something everybody can be part of. And there will be a lot of people coming from other platforms over to the prom. And, it's possible that you will end up getting in front of people from one of those other platforms that you wouldn't have known it or seen, and they're going to come and be able to witness that. So let's talk a little bit about, the growth through visibility and community here. I mean, have you seen the growth in your fan base directly on either Instagram or YouTube?
I will say yes. I see a little bit more growth on Instagram from YouTube, and I'm only saying that because like the YouTube page that I have now that is specifically for my music is new. So I constantly push out that particular YouTube channel a lot more to try to gain traction. But as far as Instagram, I'm getting, more people on my fan base. I have fans sharing stuff with their people, their friends and family, and they pop in. So it's really nice to see the growth within, a year and a half, almost 2 years span. So it's pretty nice to see.
Love it. And then would you say for, artists that are coming in here now, we always have new artists coming on. We always have, just people from any sort of walk of life coming in, no matter what their real job is or what their passion is. What would you tell them if they're a little unsure about the metaverse? What would you tell them how to proceed to, gain that backbone to say, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get up here in front of all these people that I don't know, and I'm going to perform?
I would say, take a chance. And the only reason why I say that is because, like, I had no idea I would end up here at this point in time. The only reason why I ended up here is because I took a chance. And The only reason why I took a chance actually is because I met somebody in Nemo Studio at the time. And then they encouraged me to, just step my feet in the water and, see if you can float on water. If you float on water, you're doing something. If you sink, just keep swimming till you get back up there. So take a chance, step out on faith, walk on the water.
And for everyone out there, here we see the Instagram and YouTube channel for Auntie Panda if you want to follow and check out some of the work. Let's talk a little bit about the relationship between music artists and DJs in the metaverse, because there's a lot of DJs in the metaverse, and there's a lot of events that are being, that have DJ involvement. Do you find it easy to approach and say, hey, will you throw my music out there? Like what happened in the nightclub, somebody approached you. Is that a good avenue for musicians in here to get their music out there?
Oh, yeah. You see a lot of people, they end up meeting a lot of DJs and people that play at, events and shows and concerts and stuff. So if you have, like I said, the good connection, even if you don't have that direct connection and you know somebody that does, it's good to try to put your music out there and, get somebody to play it. And anything's impossible.
So going forward, do you have any events that are scheduled coming up other than the prom? And what type of music do you have coming forward to us?
Currently I don't have any events I will be performing at other than the prom, but I do have more music coming out. I have a prom song I'm working on. So that is in the works. So hopefully I'll be, getting that done as soon as possible and y'all can hear it at the prom.
Nice. And going forward in VR, do you have anything that is a personal goal for you? Are you looking to grow and connect? Is there anyone like that you want to put yourself out there for, that you might want to do things with? Or are you kind of just, running through as a gamer and taking advantage of opportunities as they pop up?
A little bit of both. I'm taking the reins and, wherever the wind takes me, that's where I'm kind of going. But also I have a lot of people I want to work with, of course. I definitely want to work with, my sister, Dr. Karma. We've been talking, chopping it up. We definitely want to do some stuff together. Of course, I want to work with my brother, Yoko Twazy. Shout out to him. I definitely want to work with my other brother, Koan Kimpachi. I definitely want to work with him. And there's a lot of other various artists that I want to work with. Cosmic Kai, too. Definitely want to work with him. Oh, man, I would love to. So it's basically both for me. So I'm excited.
I think we need to try and schedule something to get you, Kai, and Kawan together. That would be money. That would be a lot of fun. I think that would be great. So maybe we can work on that.
Yes.
I love it. So anything else that you'd like to add and that you want to share with the audience that, about you, your journey, or where you're going?
I would definitely say for people that are starting out that are like me, if you feel like you're not where you want to be or where you should be, just know in due time, you keep putting in the work, you be consistent, you will be where you would like to be. Everything takes time. Everything takes its own course. Just keep pushing. And also, just take your time, take it day by day, be consistent. So that's pretty much all I can say.
I feel like consistency is key no matter what you're doing here in the metaverse. If you're doing events, if you're bringing your business in, or if you're just in here trying to, make a name for yourself with whatever talent you bring, if you show up consistently, you get the recognition, you get the connections, and all of that will just come together. But if you come in once in a great while, you can't come in and expect stuff to fall in your lap. It just doesn't work that way.
Right.
And surround yourself with good people. The networking in here, networking is huge in here, and you can find the right people. Even if it's just people that are showing up to support you, you can find the right audience in here to help you grow.
Exactly.
And speaking of helping people grow, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. We have DJ Marcus J, who is here week after week helping us with the cameras, taking the video for the stuff that goes out onto YouTube. He made this amazing camera system. If anybody is looking for a camera system, make sure you hit him up because it's incredible. And then we have Kip VR, who built this world along with so many others, and he has been by our side since the beginning. We've got Rich from Hume AI and Lux VR, who's out there helping people market. And he also is teaching them Higher Level, which is a program a platform that they can connect with to help with e-commerce marketing. And Cybershay VR, who is doing so many different things here in the metaverse. Beauty of Tink, who is connecting people in the metaverse and IRL with events. We've got Fuchsia from the Virtual Fitness Group, who has jumped in today to take Blue Spot for taking pictures. We thank you for your assistance and being part of our team. She is running the Virtual Fitness Group and helping people get fit while they're having fun and bringing people together from all walks of life to enjoy the healthier aspects of VR. And we have Ice Cold Stacks from the Ice House Casino and Lounge. And we have Ty Sky joining Ice Cold Stacks with BYOB Events. Both of them bringing events, live streaming, twitching, and not twitching, live streaming from Twitch. And they are definitely bringing people together for really fun events, whether they are comedy nights or music events or just gaming nights. And all of the together, everyone up here on this board helps us grow every single week because they're sharing what we're doing and they're showing up to help us. And that is part of the benefit of being here in VR is all the people that you meet that will help you grow, even if it's just the friendships that you grow here in the metaverse, which are amazing. And speaking of people who are doing lots of different things here in the metaverse, next week we will be joined with Anati, who has been on the show a couple times before. She has, started out like the rest of us, someone in the community helping support everyone else. And then she took some risks and she decided she was going to follow her music and to become a musician, not just here, but growing her musical talents and putting her music out there for the world to hear. And she has a beautiful voice, but this time around, she has changed directions and she's following things through on the AI that she has learned. And she has put together a series with a beloved family member. And we will be seeing a little bit more of that next week. So make sure you join us for that because it is so great to watch people come in here and just be, like, hey, this is fun. Let me see what's going on here. VR is wonderful. Oh, wait, there's things for me to learn. Oh, wait, there's opportunities for me to grow. And there's ways for me to show my talent and shine and still be a gamer and have fun and make community contributions, which is wonderful. So next week, we will have Anati joining us to show us that. And I want to thank you, Panda, for coming on tonight and sharing your journey. And anyone who has not heard Panda's music, please go check it out. We will have this video up in Discord in a few days so that you can have the links. But definitely, if you're not already following, follow. And if you are following her on Instagram, make sure you jump over and start following her on YouTube so you can hear all of the wonderful music she puts out. And I will tell you, I mentioned at the beginning, all different types of genres in there. You've got some stuff that hits hard, and then you've got some stuff that is, date night music. It's beautiful. So you want to listen in because there's a lot of different stuff hitting in there. So thank you again for coming on tonight. Thank you to all of you for being here tonight. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great week, everyone. Bye. And we're done. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh my God, I was so nervous.